Hello guys, thanks for joining me in what I'm going to be calling 18 ink drawings in 5 acts. These are all going to be done mostly with brush pens of various colors and gel pen, white gel pen on white Bristol board paper. So for this first set, I'm using sepia and with a little bit of red brush pen just for some accents on it, mostly line work on these 3 pieces. So I'm using the very tip of the brush pen, and I love these Pentel art brushes because you can get a really beautiful fine point on the tip of it. And they last a long time. They're supposedly disposable, but I've been using these forever, and I just replace the ink cartridge every once in a while, which they sell separately. So they're great. I love these guys. Now for the second set, I'm doing mostly the same, still a lot of line work, but I'm also doing a base of dry brush texture. As you can see, that broad stroke that I did with the side of the brush along the bottom of this second one, that is, the texture is just caused by the less amount of ink kind of skipping over the surface of the paper, which is a little bit rough. This is sort of a cold press-ish type of paper that I'm using. In this third set, I'm going to switch to some other colors. I got green and blue brush pen, starting off the same, sort of with that dry brush texturing, and then I just take clean water with a brush and just brush over the top of that, and that causes everything to kind of bleed and interesting shapes to sort of form as the ink dries. It gives me a little bit of granulation texture going on there. And I just love that randomness that it creates. This fourth set, I'm going back to a lot of line work, mostly again with the tip of the brush pen. And then I'm just hitting it with this gray Kuretake brush pen. It's not as soft and flexible as the Pentel art brushes. It's more like a marker type of tip. But the interesting thing is that because the Pentel brush pen is mostly waterproof, but not entirely, when I color on top of it with that gray pen, it sort of bleeds a little bit and lets me blend things. So that's just kind of a fun thing to do with the background. And then this final set, going crazy with the initial textures. This is just blotting on some color with the various brush pens and then dabbing it all with water, letting that dry for about 10 minutes and then coming back to it here for this second phase that you see where I'm going back and refining, finding shapes. This is what I always call and refer to as, finding shapes in the clouds, finding castles in the clouds, my version of castles, all these figures and trees and things, and just sort of seeing what you can in the randomness of the texture that was created and pulling out more defined forms from that. And there you go, 18 pieces. This took a couple of hours, compressed down for your viewing pleasure into about 3.5 minutes here. Thanks for joining me for this. And thank you, as always, to all my supporters on Patreon who help make videos like this possible.